Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profits Show. And I am so glad you're here on this Monday afternoon. I am Jim Landers, and my mission, well, it's simple. I help portrait photographers just like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, which are going to reduce the struggles that you face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. And you are here on a special day because today we celebrate our 50th episode. And you can see that up in the top right corner that I've added in a little banner there. In fact, I'll show you it big real quick. We are proud to announce this is the 50th show that we have done since we started last year. This is every single week that we are bringing you this free content on the business side of photography that helps to uplift you and helps you to reach the goals that you have with less struggle. You're going to have difficulties along the way, but let's at least reduce those. And that's what this is all about. I mean, over the years, I've heard so many times that there's no one out there that helped me when I was getting started. There wasn't anybody to go to. Well, you guys have, at the very least, and I know you've got a lot more. You've got the Portrait Profit Show every week to help you, give you ideas, push you along the path that you already are on because your passion makes it so, makes it happen. So thank you guys for being here. I want to encourage you to click that like button. I can see that 2 of you have already. That's how you uplift me. Click that like button. Click the love button. Man, that'll really uplift me even more. And then I want to see your comments. Tell me hi. Say, give me a question, make a comment, share something that you've done over the last week. Maybe the show itself has been beneficial to you. Today we're going to be talking about, and you can see it on the bottom of your screen, how to start a profitable photography business. We're going to talk about some basic elements. And we're going to be, I'm going to share some things from the SBAs, the Small Business Administration, some of their thoughts, some of their ideas. And so let's move in. Let's get into the topic today of how to start a profitable portrait photography business. Now, I do realize that some just want a little extra money. Some want to leave their job and replace that income. Others want to be in a better position than they've ever been in before. So not just replacing income, but be better. Have a better place. Maybe some want to help support the charities and the organizations that they believe in. There are so many valid, real, and worthy reasons to get into a photography business. A lot of them. So we know that photography is a passion. It's a kind of a given, at least for us. We just love it, and we love that we can make money with it. I mean, that's a cool side effect. But if you're in business, that's what you do. You make money. So if you claim to be in business, part of your job is to make a profit. That's part of the deal. If you're not in business, then making a profit is not part of the deal. But if you're in business, if you're saying you're in business, then making a profit's part of the deal. Therefore, we've got some planning to do. We've got some things that we need to think out, to figure out. Most of us jump right in. I mean, we've got all this passion and this energy. Maybe we see something that someone else has done or is now doing that's totally inspired us. It looks fun. It looks like something we could do. Maybe even better. We do a bit of research. Even put a short-term plan together. We seriously give it everything that we know how to do. We dive right in with excitement, with passion, with hope. For many, after all that effort, we find that it wasn't enough. So maybe we try again. Maybe we choose to work a little bit harder. That'll make it work. I've seen others that blame the market, the clients, or other photographers. You know what? Most of the time, the blame should be on your planning or your ability to convey your message to your target market, the people who you want to work with, in a way that intrigues them to want to work with you. What I have found after working with thousands of photographers over the last 20 plus years is that the bottom line is not a willingness to work hard. That's not the problem. It's not your passion. It's not your dedication. It's not the market. It's not my area won't pay those kinds of rates. Guys, the people you're working with won't. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people who will. You just haven't targeted them correctly yet. But you still can. I usually see dedication, a willingness to work hard, passion. I usually see that in abundance. What I have found is that our base philosophy, our mindset, is what's the problem, which is an easy thing to correct if you have an open mind. Too many of us put up blinders. We don't even realize sometimes that we do. But when someone else gives a suggestion and you immediately close it off, there's an indication you've got some blinders. There's a lot of other indicators too. So let's start right now at the beginning of planning a business that has maximum potential. I'm going to start off with the Small Business Administration. And let me bring up that banner. There we go. Oh, I see that there is. Hey, Kevin, I'm glad you're here. By the way, the comments that you guys send it, if you click that link at the top, let me give you some information about that. So if you click the link at the top of this feed, it's granting StreamYard permission to use your name and see the image that you have for your Facebook account. It grants StreamYard to share that with me. And so that causes me to know who you are if you make a comment. So Kevin did that, and so that makes it where I can see who that is. And so definitely I recommend that you click on that. Now, if you want to remain anonymous, then don't do that, because then I'll know who you are. If you make a comment. If you don't make a comment, then I still won't see you. But if you do, that's how you do it. And I want to encourage you guys, make comments. Anything you hear along the way, comment on it. If it's something you've seen work for you, if it's something you've seen not work for you, comment on it, ask questions, and then hit that like button, hit that love button. All right, so that's coming back to the next section. Let's see, here we go. We're going to be talking about the top 10 from the Small Business Administration, SBA, and they have a lot of good information on that website. Many of you have probably been to that website before, and so you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. But you know, if you were to go to the SBA website, they will tell you what to do, and I bet some of you have done some of these things, but maybe you didn't do them all. And those things that you did, you may or may not have done as well as you know you should. Not because you're lazy, maybe because you didn't know or didn't realize the importance of it or didn't think it applied to you. So let's talk about those top 10 things. The first one, make that a little bit smaller. There we go. Have to move it around on my page. The first one is conducting market research. Now, on that website, it goes into a little bit of detail. Actually, it goes into a lot if you go further into it. But on that page where it just gives the top 10, it says market research will tell you if there's an opportunity to turn your idea into a successful business. It's a way to gather information about your potential customers and businesses already operating in your area. Use that information to find a competitive advantage for your business. So good information, conducting market research. Now, especially if you've got something that is not easily customizable, that really plays a huge role. But even still, this still plays a huge role. We need to know who it is that we're going to be compared to, not so that we can copy or anything else. Is just for our awareness, just to be aware of what it is we're doing, what's going on. So conducting market research, good one. The second one on their list is writing your business plan. Obviously, we have to have a plan. It's what we do from getting from point A to point B. So we need to know where we're at. We need to know what the idea of what it is that we're heading towards. You guys have probably heard me say this a million times. When you are going to an appointment, when you're going on an errand, you're getting out, you're driving your car, you know where you're starting from. You know if you've got enough gas in the car to get there. You know where it is that you're going, and you know when you need to get there by. You've got everything in place. Too many of us start our businesses not knowing those things. And business is way more important than getting your car from point A to point B. You need to know where you're at. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what path you're going to take to get there. All the different steps. I call them destinations. It's not just one destination. It's lots of them. And by the way, to me, success is every single thing on your task list that you get to check off. That's a success. If you've got nothing on your task list checked off, not successful yet. Not that day. But you can be. You're going from point A to point B. You're defining what all the different steps are that you're going to have to make in order to get there. So what that means is if you were to get out on the road knowing you had only enough gas to get a third of the way, you're either going to stop for gas because you have enough money to be able to get some and time, or you're going to realize I don't have time or I don't have money. So therefore you're not even going to get on that trip. Too many of us start without knowing what it takes to get where we're going. And we get a partial way and think, well, I've given it everything I've got. Well, you've given it everything you've got. That's true. But there's more you should have done, and that's part of the planning. That's where writing a business plan comes in. And SBA says your business plan is the foundation of your business. It's a roadmap for how to structure, run, and grow your business. You'll use it to convince people that working with you or investing in your company is a smart choice. Again, that's their words, and I agree with them. Next thing on the SBA top 10 list is to fund your business. Now, we all know that we need money to be able to do these things. We can work on a shoestring budget, but we have to have some things in place. So according to SBA, your business plan will help you figure out how much money that you're going to need to start. If you don't have that amount on hand, you'll either need to raise or borrow that money. Fortunately, there are ways, more ways now than ever, to find that capital that you need. On the SBA website, they actually tell you some ways to do that. And so if that's something you feel you need, go to the SBA website to find out more information on that, or take advantage of one of my 30-minute business consultations. They're free. So you just have to reach out to me to schedule it. Next one on the SBA list is to pick your location. Now, for some of us who want to have a studio, we're going to be picking a location. For others of us that have a studio in our home or choose to not to have a studio at all, by the way, all of these options are good, viable, winning options. You don't need to have a studio. There's times I know when you're going to feel like, well, it would be so much better, and maybe it is for you, but not necessarily. It is not the right tool for every single photographer, and you guys know this. Choose a business location. They say your business location is one of the most important decisions you're going to make. And if you have a location, probably important. It isn't always. It depends on what you're doing. But you can imagine, this is general. SBA has to be general. So we're going to get into some specifics for photographers as soon as I finish the SBA's top 10 list. I'm going to give you my own top 10 list. Their fifth, SBA's fifth, is to choose a business structure. Now, this is part of getting legal. We will get to that on number 8 here in a second about getting legal. But choose a business structure. Again, this is SBA's top 10 list. They say about choosing a business structure, the legal structure you choose for your business will impact your business registration requirements and how much you pay in taxes and your personal liability. For instance, it's often suggested that sole proprietor photographers change to an LLC, a limited liability corporation. That isn't always the best choice, but a lot of times it is. And it definitely, in most cases, is better than a sole proprietor. And we're not going to go really into the details of that, but choosing your business structure is another one of those important things that you need to know, to choose. And so choosing that business structure. Number 6 on the SBA list is to choose your business's name. A lot of us start with that, and that's fine. It's one of the top 10. It's something that needs to happen right off the bat. And so it isn't easy to pick a name. I mean, for me, it's Landers Photography School. That was pretty easy. My name's Jim Landers, so that was easy, but not in every situation. In fact, if your last name is Landers and you wanted to have Landers Photography here in my area, I live in San Antonio, you're not going to be able to do that because I already have it. So therefore, you're going to have some other name. Maybe you're Sally Landers, so Sally Landers Photography. You could do that, most likely. But when you choose, you know how important choosing your name is. You don't need me to tell you. You don't need anybody else to tell you. You will just, oh man, you'll go into so much thought and detail on this that it'll overwhelm you. But choosing a business name. Now, SBA says it's not easy to pick the perfect name. You'll want one that reflects your brand and captures your spirit. You'll want to make sure your business name isn't already being used by someone else. Makes sense. Number 7 on the SBA list is to register your business. Now, this is another one of those getting legal things. Once you have picked the perfect business name, again, this is SBA's website that says this, I'm reading it, it's time to make it legal and protect your brand. If you're doing business under a different name other than your own, you'll need to register with the federal government and maybe your state government and your local government. So those of you who are here in San Antonio, you will register a DBA, doing business as, at the Bexar County Courthouse in downtown San Antonio. Now, I know in different areas of the U.S. it's different, and in different areas of the world it's different. So whatever your local laws are, find out what those are and make sure you're doing that. So register your business, make it legal. But the next step in making on the legal side of things is to get a federal and tax IDs. This is one of those areas where a lot of photographers either don't ever do or are scared to do. And it's understandable why they are, because it becomes real at that point. They're on the hook at that point. The government knows they exist at that point. And if they don't do something, it's a red flag, and the government knows about it. And no one wants to get the IRS on their back. I get it. But it is something that is part of normal business process. And for some of you, it's too soon to do it. It is. You don't start off with that. You've got some prep work to do ahead of time, and when it's time, that's when you do it. Get your federal. Now, This again, this is SBA. I'm reading. You'll use your employer identification number. It's most of the time referred to as EIN. You'll get your EIN for important steps to start and grow your business, like opening a bank account. Got to have it. And paying taxes. It's like a social security number, but for your business. Some, but not all states require that you get a tax ID. So again, I know that not everybody is in San Antonio, Texas. So whatever the rules, the laws are in your area, find out what they are. Consult someone who actually knows the stuff. Maybe someone who's been in business for a while and can help you, has gone through these steps. Next on the top 10 list for the SBA is applying for licenses and permits. They say keep your business running smoothly by staying legally compliant. The licenses and permits you need for your business will vary by industry, state, location, and other factors. For photographers, there's times when you need permits, but that's usually when you're photographing at a location that requires them, and you get them from them, not the state, not the county. So there's not a whole lot of that for photographers in my area. But in other areas of the U.S., there are some things that you must do. So again, become familiar with the laws in your area and follow those. And number 10, now that you have your EIN, you want to get your bank account opened up. So you have it separate from your own personal account. Can you do it all in one? Yes. Yeah. In some ways that might be easier, but in most ways that's hard. Having one account, I guess that is kind of easy because you're only looking at one place. But having two keeps things separate. Having your personal and having your business. This is for small business. For larger businesses, it's a given. But for smaller businesses, you may feel like, well, do I really need that? And right at first, maybe not. But very soon, yes. I definitely recommend it. SBA says a small business checking account can help you handle legal, tax, and day-to-day issues. The good news is that it's easy to set up once you have the right registrations and paperwork ready. And that's true. So that is the top 10 list, and I'm going to check to see if there's any comments before I move into mine. Oh, good. Pork was commenting on how the SBA was helpful, vital in getting through COVID. And so, yeah, a lot of people are going to be benefited by going to this website and all of the different opportunities and education and information that they are sharing there. Programs, also their programs. Glad you're here, Rick. LLC is a good place to start. I agree, Port. Naming is the beginning of the branding process. Sure is. You know what, Kevin? It does take a while for people to come up with their names. A year. Some people come up with it immediately, just comes boom as inspiration. Others really have a difficult time with naming their business and may go through several different names before they come up with one. So that makes a lot of sense, Kevin. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, that's right. Pork is commenting on working with SBA and there's other programs out there, but staying legally compliant is what causes you to be able to take advantage of whatever government programs are available. Now, it may be that you don't have a need for one, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that it's okay not to be legally compliant, but there are some benefits to doing so. Keeping up with your taxes, keeping up with everything that in regards to state, local, federal, county, staying legal on all these areas. And by the way, it takes a little bit of time to get those things set up, but once they're set up, there's not really much to do. I mean, you've got things that you have to report, but the initial stuff is the hill, and everything else just kind of coasts along, and you'll get used to it. So not a big deal there at all. Thank you for your comments on that, Pork. Perfect. All right, so we have just gone over the top 10 list to starting and growing a business in general from the SBA. Now, knowing those things, these are good. I'm not going to repeat really these things that are here. Maybe a little bit, but there's some overlap. But I'm not going to repeat these. I'm going to add in 10 more of my own. So, let me take that off. Banners. There we go. So that top 10 list coming straight from the SBA website, those are good, but of course they're general. So let's go over some things that are specific to photographers. Just like me, I know you've heard of all kinds of tips. I'm sure you've heard criticisms, suggestions, and recommendations on what it takes to be in business. Most of them are probably helpful. Some of them aren't helpful at all. Some of them are completely wrong, not because the person who gave it to you is trying to cause any problems for you. It's just they are seeing things from a different point of view. They've got a different set of tools that they need. And so just because a set of tools, and tools to me is just the resources that you use in order to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. That's what tools are to me. But just because a set of tools works for this other photographer over here does not mean they're going to work for you. So that we learn from what other people are doing, learn from several different people, have a mentor. Yes, it's one of the things on my list. But we need to find out what tools work best for us, and that's done first through planning. What is it that we want? Tools become real obvious when we've defined what we want. Every once in a while, someone will ask me, all right, I've been saving up money to buy a lens. What lens should I buy? That question is equivalent to going into the grocery store and saying, how much is a bag of groceries? It depends on what you want in your bag. Which lens should you buy? Your processes, the things that you do, they should be telling you what to use. I mean, if you were a carpenter and you needed to put up a shelf, then you probably know you need a drill, maybe a hammer. But it's the job that told you what tools were necessary. The tools don't tell you what jobs are necessary. So you actually doing things causes you to know which tools you're going to need. I realize that when you begin, you don't know much, and there's not a whole lot to base it on. But guess what? Every step of the process in your entire business career, every new thing you do is new. But some people seem to just know what exactly it is they need. Well, it's because they've planned. It's because they have a mentor, someone to talk to, maybe a business coach. They know what's next. And they know which tools are going to be best to get what's next, to make it happen. So in addition to that top 10 SBA list, here's my top 10. Just one photographer, what I believe are some of the key ingredients to making a profit in the portrait photography industry. By the way, I created a list that had a lot more than 10, and so I just kind of cherry-picked a few of them, didn't put them in any particular order. Right at first I did, but then I kind of didn't care. I just pulled some out. There are so many variables that are part of the planning process that I just came up with. I just put 10 together, and we'll go over them. There's a whole lot more that we can spend time with. And if you want to spend time going over your current business situation, reach out to me. Again, I give you a free 30-minute private session. And we can talk about your pricing, we can talk about your business structure, whatever's important to you. You just have to get on my calendar. In fact, reach out to me at jim@landersphotoschool.com. I don't have the link handy right now, but jim@landersphotoschool.com, and we'll get that taken care of. All right, so my top 10. Number 1, I want you to take control of your time. By the way, I'm looking at comments. Good. All right. And my comments, for some reason, have stopped showing. Oh, well, that's interesting. That hasn't happened before. Take control of your time. I want you to make a schedule for yourself that includes time for you to begin with. At the beginning of each day, have some me time. Maybe it's half hour, maybe it's an hour, but have some me time, quiet time. Um, One of the first things I think most of us do, and I'm guilty of this myself, is going straight for my phone, checking to see if there's any text, any emails, anything on social media. I go straight to my phone often, most of the time. Not a good idea. You need some planning time, some me time, some alone time. You sit with your favorite cup of coffee or tea, read a book, but nothing that has spend time with either nothing at all, looking at the beautiful view you have, or but just don't spend time with anything that has the potential to be negative within that first half hour to an hour. TV, newspaper, these things have the potential to have negative news, and I want you to start off your day without that. It's just one of my suggestions. Maybe you read a book. Whatever you feel is going to make you a better spouse, a better parent, a better business person, a better photographer, but whatever is going to make you a better whatever you want to be. Maybe that's what you start off with. Now, I like to um, uh, maybe start off with some inspirational stuff, maybe some YouTube videos. And these are very inspiring to me, and I write down my thoughts and ideas. So I've got a notepad handy. Maybe you've got one next to your bedside or in your bedside table. But when you've got ideas, I want you to develop them. I want you to write down those thoughts. When you have these inspirations, be ready to put these things down immediately. Now, if you're doing this 30-minute to an hour thing in the morning, I want you to end this time going straight to whatever your current plans are for the day, for the week, for the month, writing down or re-evaluating them. Maybe you do them at night, the night before, but go over them. Maybe you need to reprioritize them, but just make sure you're aware of what it is you're going to be doing that day, that week, that month. Number 2 in my top 10 list is taking control of your stuff by giving everything a home. Just like it's a smart idea to put your keys in the same place every single time so that you never have to go looking for them. Same thing with your phone. Yep, it's easy to call your phone, I suppose, if someone else is in your home. But just put your things in the same spot every time, and then you never lose them. Give everything a home. But I also think you should give your thoughts, your ideas, your plans a home too, because we don't want to go looking for those either. There's times when you have this thought and you're like, ooh, I started working on that. Where is that? Give your thoughts and ideas a home, just like your stuff. Put your mental stuff in a home as well. I have binders all over the place. This is the Portrait Prophets binder. And so it's filled with stuff. There's more stuff in my computer, but the physical stuff I put here, you can see there's quite a few things in there. My different classes that I have, like this is Photography Business 201, has its own binder. Everything that I do has a home. I think there's 30-something binders right here on this workspace, and I have more over there, more over there. This is one of the ways I give my thoughts, my classes. Everything has a home. My classes, I've got 120 or 130 different class titles, and every once in a while I'll come up with another thing I could add to improve a class or to start a new class. So, like I showed you before with Photo Business 201, every time I have an idea that I want to add to it or something that I can use to make that class better, I have a home to put those thoughts in. I encourage you to have a home to put your thoughts. Maybe it's not binders. Maybe it's an app on your phone. I have app on my phone for that kind of thing too. In fact, one of the ways that I like to be able to see everything at once is an app called Mindly. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but it's on my mind. So let me bring up Mindly. All right, so right in the center of my screen, you can see Mindly. And did I click it right? So it comes up with several different areas of my life, and I'll click on Landers Photography School. And you can see Landers Photography School in the middle, and all these different sections, these different subsections of the of my of Landers Photography School. And so I can click on any one of them, and so I clicked on one, and you can see different parts to it, and so that I can just see at a glance all the different variables, all the different things. So this is another way I give things a home. Again, this is an app called Mindly, Mindly, Mindly. I just want you to keep your thoughts organized. I want you to keep your stuff in a place where you can find it. Keep a list of everything that you do in your business, your steps, your procedures. Give everything that you do a name. It doesn't have to be unique, but give it a title. Give it a name. If you do an initial meeting, a planning session before you photograph someone, give it a name. It could be planning session. I call it a design consultation. Design consultation. Pre-portrait chat, whatever you want to call it. If you do something, give it a title, give it a name, and be consistent with it. That way, when your clients hear you say it, they'll start understanding what you're talking about, and things will be clean and clear because you've made it that way. The second thing it would be, for instance, if a lot of photographers, they don't really say this quite as much anymore, but and they've gotten away from it, but the word proofs was always used. And so I would prefer to say originals. I still say originals. So when we're going through my images during the portrait selection consultation, giving it a name, and I do it in person, I talk about my originals. Originals have not had artwork done to them. They actually have had a little bit of light artwork to them, the density, the color balance, maybe a few little things, spots or hairs or flyaway hairs, pimples. I might get rid of several things, but I haven't really fine-tuned it yet. So I call them my originals, and my originals never leave my control. It'd be like if I was a painter on canvas, and I decided, someone wanted to buy the painting from me, and I just sold it without finishing it. I'm not going to do that. My work has to be completed before I give it to my client, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So that's why I call them originals. And then fine-tune, the finished product is what goes to my clients. And they go to my clients in the form of a portrait printed, framed, and installed on their wall. I don't want to give my clients more work to do. They're hiring me as a service. They're not hiring me so that they can get more work to do. So I prefer to actually do the printing for them at Digital ProLab, and then go get it framed and have it installed. Sometimes I install it myself. Most of the time I just install it myself. Other times there's installers. I mean, think about TV installers. They could put up your photograph easily, really easily. Even put a light above it. They're used to putting electricity up because the TVs need it. So this is an easy thing for them to do. Step number 3, or number 3 in my top 10 list, build your system. This is your business plan. This is one of the things that you saw on the SBA's list, but this includes your statements, your mission statement, your value statement, your vision statement. This includes your marketing plan. This includes your pricing, your product description, your procedure manual, your budget, your timeline, your competitor analysis, your SWOT analysis, all the different things that make up a business plan. There's a lot of stuff, and I think it's kind of fun. It's very time consuming, but it's very much worth your while to complete those things. With these plans, you will know who your target market is, how many sessions you need to do per week, per month, per quarter, per year, how much money it is that you need to make in order to reach your goals. It also will include when you're taking time off, vacations, other things that you take time off for. It includes the rules of doing business. You create your own rules for your business. It includes the costs of doing business. Obviously an important variable. We don't want to plan to go in debt. We want our clients to buy our gear. I want you to consider your loved ones. This affects them too, especially if your business is out of your home. I want you to evaluate why you are or want to be in business. What are your motivations? Is it profit? Independence? Do you want to become famous? Are your loved ones supportive? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to succeed? That's why a lot of people will say you should follow your passion, because you're going to have rough spots. And if you remain passionate during those rough spots, you get to continue in business, because it's over time that things happen. Yes, some things happen very quickly, but most things take some time, and you know that. You've heard the cliche, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. To some extent, that's true, but you're still going to work. You have to deal with clients. You have to do your marketing. You have to know your pricing. By the way, pricing is what we're going to be covering on next week's show. So put that on your calendar right now. I'll mention it a little bit in a little while, but pricing is what we're going to be covering in the next show. Branding, email, social media, editing, albums, prints, frames, product research, bookkeeping, continuing education. You know what? Some of those things you might not like. Bookkeeping, outsource that stuff. But it's got to be part of your plan. You've got to be able to charge enough so that you can cover the costs of those who are going to be helping you out. It's easy when you make it part of your plan. It's impossible if you don't. Number 4 on my top 10 list is target your market. We need to know who it is you're going to be working with. You want to work with people who make you happy, who excite you, who make you want to work with them. This isn't some retail job where anyone who comes to the counter, you've got to help, even if they are rude. This is your business. Make sure that the people who come to you are people you want to work with. And you may think, well, how do I do that? The same way, and I'll give you another question. People that ask me, how do you find people who want prints? What I have found is most people don't want them. They want digital files. Because I do my marketing correctly. Now, that doesn't mean you're bad at doing marketing. You may be getting a lot of business. But if you are getting business and it's people who want to buy something that isn't what you're really wanting to sell, then are you really a good marketer? You're good, but you could be better. We all could be better. Me too. But my marketing targeted people who wanted wall portraits. And so guess what percentage of the people who called me, I specialize in family portraits as home decor. Because of that very specific description of what it is that I do, guess how many people call saying, I don't want any prints. They don't do that. It's plain and clear in my marketing that I do prints, and so they aren't looking for, did I say prints earlier? I meant to say digital files. How many people are asking for digital files? People aren't doing that. Now, they may, in part of the process, say, do you also sell digital files? And I do. $350 each is what I charge for a single digital file. It's because I don't want to sell them. That's not what I want to sell. Besides, your digital files are just like negatives. By the way, guys, when we had negatives, nobody sold those. We had just a different way of looking at the world. We didn't, sure, anyone could take our negatives and go to a lab and print it themselves. Sure, they could do that. But no one did that. Now, what are their reasons? Hey, they have their own reasons for doing that. But one of mine would be, I really care that my product is complete, done, when I am done working with my client. When I send a digital file that is could be printed anywhere or not printed at all, and of course I do family portraits, so the end result is not a digital file. The end result is a photograph on the wall for them to see and enjoy, and cry tears of joy every time they see it. That's complete to me. So therefore I attract clients who want that. And those who don't want that, they're not calling me. That's how you get people. You're not seeking them out. Your marketing makes it very clear what it is that you do. Target your market. You need to make a plan on how to reach them. How much is going to cost, both time and money. Now, let me tell you about my target market. I'm going to give you 5 things. There's more, but I'm going to give you 5 things that make up my target market. 1, women, specifically moms. I specialize in family portraits as home decor. Kind of makes sense. Out of the many, many years that I've been doing photography, it's not very often that dad calls. It's probably 5% of the time. 95% it's mom. Moms are the ones who make family portraits happen. So I target moms. And age group, usually 25, 35 on that lower end, so let's say 35 to 65. And that's generally where that's who I am targeting. 35 to 65. Sometimes a little bit younger, 25, but no one younger than 25. And number 3, they have a high value for photography. If they consider it a commodity, anybody can press a button. It reminds me several years ago, someone said, "How do you make a business out of photography when any monkey could do it?" Yeah, somebody said that to me. But anyway, so I want them to have a high value for photography. Number 4, they're willing to do business my way. Now, what does that mean? It means I've been doing this for a while, and I know when I'm best. And I've promised that I'm going to give you my best. I'm not going to give you my best within some confines that I don't have control over. I'm giving you my best within my own confines. So therefore, if you ask me to do something outside of my comfort zone, I'm probably going to refer that business somewhere else. Now, comfort zone may not be the right word here, because if it's, I'm still comfortable doing it. It's just I know I'm not. If I know someone else is better at doing the thing that they've requested, I'm going to refer that someone else. Because yes, I can press the button in front of anything. So can you. That's not what makes you the best. It's your processes. It's the things that you do, all the little steps, all the million things that go into whatever the final product actually is. Those are the things that make you the best. And any deviation from those things are going to make it difficult for you. Okay. Number 5, they have enough discretionary income to afford me. So those are 5 of the things that I have on my list. Next thing on my top 5 is pricing and merchandising. Pricing, I mentioned a little while ago, that is what the subject of the next Portrait Profit Show is. So put that on your calendars. That's this coming Monday, a week from today. I don't recommend the starting low, then raise your prices later. Now, starting a little bit low, sure, but I believe in knowing what it is that you're trying to do as the end result and basing your decisions on that, not just simply starting low. Because this is what a lot of photographers usually start doing, is they look at what other photographers are doing and they're making a comparison. Oh, I'm not quite as good as him. Haven't done it as long as her, and they make their pricing choices based on other people. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I understand why you would do that, because I did it too when I started. But most photographers have a price that's so low they're actually not making a profit. As many as 95% of all photographers aren't profitable, so why would you be taking their advice? Well, partially because you can't tell the difference. It's hard to tell the difference between someone who is profitable and who isn't. I mean, we look at someone successful as someone who's got a lot of social media posts and a lot of good photographs. That's success, because we don't actually know if they're actually making this business work. Your pricing should not be based on other photographers. Your pricing should be based solely on what is it that you're trying to accomplish. We're going to go into a lot of detail on that next week. I also do a free private session on that particular subject. So either way. Uh, I believe that you should actually start off higher than you're comfortable with, because most of us are going to be uncomfortable with our prices at first. And then they become normal, and that's a non-issue. But you got to start there. I want you to make sure that you are aware you are not your target market. Please keep in mind, you're not in your own target market. You're a do-it-yourselfer when it comes to photography. And do-it-yourselfers don't pay the full price. So it doesn't matter that you wouldn't pay that price. In fact, it's pretty plain and obvious that you wouldn't, because you're a do-it-yourselfer. And you're not after other do-it-yourselfers. So therefore, they are going to pay full price if you're marketing correctly. You're not your own target market. Number 6, education, self-confidence, people skills. I believe you should find a mentor, someone to talk to. Maybe it's a paid coach. Maybe it's someone that you just know that you can reach out to. I think you should have all the above. I've had 5 business coaches over the years, 5 different business coaches. And each one of them were because I needed something else, something different. It's not that they did a bad job and I, broke ties with them and went to someone else. That's not how it happened. It was just that different people specialize in different things. I've had 5 different business coaches over the years, and they are amazing. And then I've had other people who I just can call and reach out to, and you should have lots of those. This is in the mentor category. There's paid mentors and there's friend mentors, but people who you respect, who have experienced whatever it is that you want to experience. That doesn't mean they have to be there right now, but they have at some point experienced what it is you need to experience, because they can share with you what their experience was like. I also think you should join support systems. So in addition to mentors as a support system, I believe organizations are good support systems, like joining PPA, Professional Photographers of America, joining a camera club like Photo SA, my camera club, the Atlanta Photography School, and taking classes, joining PPSA, joining the Greater San Antonio Camera Club, joining Facebook groups like San Antonio Photography. There's so many different support systems out there. I think you should join several of them and be active in them. By the way, there's a lot more, and if some of you guys represent some of those different things and I didn't mention, I'm sorry, but there's a bunch of them out there, and I definitely think you should look into those and join them. And know that this next thing on here is people not only hire you for your beautiful work, but for your personality too. I think we all know that, but this has to show in our marketing, and we have to know who we are so that we can convey it. It is easier to work with people who like you. The best way to make you more interesting is to be more interested in them. Ask them questions. Be curious. Be genuine. And you may have heard me tell this story before, but it's a short story. I was sitting somewhere waiting, and I don't remember now what it was. Could have been an airport. And there was someone sitting next to me who was also waiting. We are just kind of sitting there. And I struck up a conversation, just asked him questions about him. And we probably talked for, I don't know, it was at least 5 minutes. It could have been 20 minutes. I don't remember how long we spoke. But it was, a good enough time. And when it was time for him to get up and leave, he stood up and just, took a step and then kind of turned back to me and said, you're one of the most interesting people I think I've ever met. And then he turned and walked away. And I'm sitting, I'm left to sit there and ponder, well, what does that mean? He doesn't know anything about me. I only ask questions about him. That's when I learned to be more interesting. You have to be more interested. Care about your clients. Ask them questions. What do they like to do when they're not at work? What do they like to do for work? Do they have a pet? Kids? Where do they like to go for vacations? Hobbies? What do they like to do? Find out a little bit more about the people that you want to work with. Number 7, form your policies. This is for quality. This is for profit. This is for lifestyle. Make some decisions. I mean, these are the rules to the game that you have as your business. Are you going to give away your originals? Original digital files without any manipulation or with very little? If you do, that's your plan. But make sure it's part of the plan. And if so, are you going to do it every single time? Are there times when you do, times when you don't do digitals? For instance, headshots. I do digitals every time with headshots. Sometimes they're printed. A lot of times it's just a digital file because they need it for their LinkedIn profile, their Facebook profile, their email. They need it in a digital form. So therefore it makes sense. For me, I would highly recommend that other things other than that example I just gave, that no originals ever leave your control. Not even on online e-commerce sites, except for very specific things like wedding receptions or weddings, because the guests will never be able to see the images otherwise. But this, whatever your choices are here, this is in your policy manual, but don't include just the what it is you're going to do. Also include the why it is that's part of it. So here are some of mine. Design consultation for all clients. No design consultation equals no session. They have to have a planning session with me. Prepaid creation fee. Some people call it a session fee. There's a prepaid creation fee. It's $400 for my family portraits. Project your originals. I project my originals on their wall in the spot where it's going to be displayed. That way they can see it and in the size it's going to be printed in. A minimum 50% down when it comes to prints, or no work begins. By the way, almost everybody pays for it up front. Most people don't do payment plans, but some do. Number 8. It's just 3 more to go. Marketing. To your VIPs, past and current, and prospects, new. You have to have a database. You have to have some unique factors. I'd say a minimum of 10 things that differentiate you from the next photographer. Testimonials. Get them from every single one of your clients. Have a plan to make that happen. Marketing budget. I recommend around 7%, but that's very general. Your specific situation may be totally different. But generally speaking, about 7% of your total gross is to marketing. I believe you need a website. I believe you need strong social media. And I believe that you need exhibits or displays with takeaway cards, those larger, not business size, not business size cards, but bigger cards like the 5x7, 6x9 information cards about images, your images with testimonials and how to work with you. Maybe some other things on there. That's the marketing. And number 9, keep at it. And stuff takes time. You're very well aware of this, but management, vision, persistence, staffing, scheduling, record keeping, apprentices, there's a lot of variables here. Overnight success takes a lot of time. It takes years to gain experience. It takes years to gain a good reputation. Be persistent. Focus daily on those plans and goals, those long-term plans, the short-term plans. Focus daily on them. Don't give up. You will have good days. You're going to have bad days, and maybe more of the difficult times at first than the good ones at first. Maybe it's the reverse, but you're just taking small steps. By the way, I don't believe there are bad days. I believe there are bad moments, but not bad days. Note to those who work from home, both your photography business and your personal life are important. Maintain a healthy balance between the two. Now, what does that mean? Is different for everybody. Totally different for everybody. I can only generalize. Think about it from the point of view of your family members who love you and support you, but simply just don't have the same passion for what it is you're doing as you do. They have their own passions, and you need to support their passions as well. Number 10 of 10. Sales skills. Write down every question you can think of that a client might ask, and then answer them when they're not around, so that you're prepared with an answer that sounds intelligent. By the way, there's going to be a client that asks you a question that you never even considered. You now have a home for these questions, add it. I hope that this episode of the Portrait Profit Show has been beneficial to your growth as a professional photographer. This top 10 list provides ideas, steps, some structure for your portrait photography business. You have a lot of work to do in order to make this all work. I hope you know this is what I do. I help portrait photographers reach their goals, even when they don't know what their goals are. I've had that comment several times. Well, you've got to understand, I'm young. I've got a whole world ahead of me. I don't really know what it is that I want, and I don't know that I need to know what I want. You actually know more than you think you know. You just haven't stopped to analyze it, and you don't know what things you're supposed to analyze in order to put those together to form the basis of the structure of your life and of your business. But I help with that. I love this stuff, both the photography side and the business side. More so on the business side lately. I just love it. And I love to share what I enjoy. And I want you to be successful in your photography business. I am here to help. This is what I am passionate about. I see that there's some comments that I might not have gotten to. There we go. Yes. Good. Glad you're here, Erica. Time management. Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, for all of us. I could go into a lot of detail there. Morning pages, good. Yeah, Kevin, that a lot of photographers do see that. When you raise your prices, clients continue to book. I mean, let's say your average sale was $400 and you raise your prices 10%. Oh my, it's now 440. How many people are going to say, are you kidding? 40 extra dollars? I am not, no way, I'm out. I'm out. No one's going to say that. So it's just not that big a deal. Now, if you raise it drastically, you go from 400 to 1200, okay, you're going to have people say, I'm out. You are. But if you're raising it incrementally, now, again, you don't start off with crazy numbers, and crazy numbers to me are just comparing to other photographers. That's crazy because it has nothing to do with you and your goals. Other photographers' prices have nothing to do with you and your goals. So why would you include things that have nothing to do with you and your goals in your decision making? How much sense does that make? Thank you for your comment, Kevin. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Jeff is also does teaching. He's been doing photography for nearly full time for nearly 20 years, and it's it's none of our business how much money someone else has. It's none of our business how much they feel a photographer is worth. It's none of our business. What is our business is what's important to us and what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. So I want to bring Amanda on. Amanda has been with us, and I can see her on my screen, and she's been here with us the whole time. And Amanda, welcome to bringing you on to the 50th show. Congratulations to, I guess, both of us for this milestone and what it is we're trying to do here to uplift photographers.
Ready. It went by really fast.
Yeah, I agree.
But I really like the logo here. I can see it says.
Do you see it right there?
I love that.
50th show, yep. And that's only for today. So those of you who are watching right now, you're the only ones who are going to see that because it goes back to the regular one because next week will be 51. And there's not going to be a special banner for 51.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I do have a request for one of the next topics. You'll have to consider it. I think you should do time management for photographers. I think that a
Yeah,
lot of people struggle with that, and just really focusing on that might help to
I like that.
declutter our time.
Time management for photographers. I'm going to write that down in my home for those kind of ideas.
That's great. We'll have to do organization for business owners after that.
Mm,
Like, I don't even want to show you my desk.
I'm writing it down. So, did you have anything you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Let's go ahead and share the promo code because I know everybody loves those at the end of the show. So I'll pop that one up. So this week, all the way through the 6th, which is this coming Sunday, we're going to do 30% off fine art prints. We offer 4 different hand and mill fine art paper types that fall into our quote unquote fine art category. So when you go to our website, just type in fine art at the very top, or when you drop the menu down at digitalprolab.com, you'll see that there are products that end with fine art. Those are going to be the products that you'll have access to. A lot of the prints that you see behind me actually are all fine art prints that we printed on smooth photo rag, which is one of my favorite. I'm going to show you really quick. So here are 4 different fine art paper types that we offer. So it's a little hard to tell from here, but one thing I wanted to show you was some of our other paper types in comparison. So this is our Pro Luster product type, and I kind of want to show you just in general kind of what that looks like. It's one of our most popular paper types for most photographers and most of our customers. But we definitely want to show you the difference between that paper type and this one. You can see the thickness is significantly different. The other thing that you may notice is the fine art paper options have more of a matte finish to them versus a luster finish, like a Pro Luster or a gloss or metallic have high gloss finishes. Any of our fine art paper lines are going to have that very matte finish, with the exception of the Barita, which has a little bit more of a luster finish. But those types of prints are not highly reflective to light because they're non-gloss prints. So if you're putting them behind glass, you're not having to get a multiple reflective effect where really at the end of the day your image is being obstructed by a lot of the reflectivity, which is why it's really important to get non-glare glass, especially because sometimes you don't know exactly where that piece is going to be located in the customer's house unless you're like Jim and you go out there ahead of time to see what the lighting situation is going to be, and kind of have a little bit of foresight there. But fine art prints, again, are not generally very reflective, so that actually works in your favor when they're going to be placed in different areas, especially as window light comes in at different times, how it hits a print. Those are things you want to consider. So these fine art papers are something to try out and see if you like that, and just see how they react with light. That's really important. The other really great thing about fine art prints, which differs from silver halide or your wet process prints, like a Pro Luster paper, like I showed you a second ago, is not only the thickness, but the texture options. If you want to add more visual interest to your product, sometimes you want to add or you want to select a product that has texture, and those textures are available on that fine art paper line. You have like a watercolor texture, you have a German etching texture, which just gives it a little bit more of a grit to it, which is highly reactive with light too. So not only is a gloss print going to be reactive to light, but textured prints, when you have light coming from top down, you really start to see all of those textures come to life in print. So those are kind of fun papers to try. So what we're doing this week is we're going to give you 30% off of 16 by 20 or 16 by 24 fine art prints. So take advantage of that because they're beautiful prints, and you can see some of them behind me. I love them for black and white images. I love contrasty black and white, and the fine art paper line has very bright whites. So that actually helps with, really dynamic black and white images like the ones I like to shoot. So there's that. I do want to give you all a quick reminder again, because this would actually be a product that would fall in line for the upcoming print competition, which we had to postpone from last month. So we're really sad about that. But obviously, we had a winter storm coming in, that we wanted to, limit the amount of people that were coming out and not coming safely, obviously. So we postponed that to February 17th at 7 p.m. here at Digital Pro Lab. And really, all it requires is a mounted or matted print that you want to put in any of our 5 categories. You can go to digitalprolab.com, click on the events link at the very top, and you'll actually see more details with regard to the requirements, some of what to expect. If you just want to come and watch and see what it's all about, we encourage you to do that too. We've had a lot of requests for people just coming, wanting to see what a print critique is. They are judged, so there are going to be your first, second, third place winners, as well as an honorable mention. But it provides a really great forum for feedback, because the judges that are there, once your print goes up, will actually give feedback when your image is there in front, for judging, as well as just the critiquing process. So I highly encourage everybody to do that, because it makes us better photographers when we are critiqued and hear different perspectives on our work. So I encourage you to come and see that. So those are the 2 things that I wanted to share. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great week.
Well, thank you, Amanda, and that print competition, and just looking at just being there in that environment is one of those examples of that I was giving earlier of give yourself a support group. So being part of the Greater San Antonio Camera Club and meeting at Digital Pro Lab for this print competition, just being there is going to be beneficial. Participating with a print is going to be even more beneficial to you. But hey, you start just by seeing, does this feel good to me? Does this feel like it's going to be beneficial? And I feel that it absolutely will. But you've got to try it, see for yourself. So definitely the February 17th, I'd recommend you being there, and everybody should definitely take advantage of the special, that 30% off the fine art prints. Those look super cool. There's so many. There's 4 different paper types, lots of different. Take advantage of that special so you can see your work with these different types, and also so that you can show off your work when you're showing it to your clients. Maybe you get them printed and you have your favorites, and maybe you just show your favorites, but now you have an example to show your client that is your work, which I think has more value than just any image that could be on that paper. I do appreciate sample, images and stuff from labs, but I want it to be my work. That's what I want to show off.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that, you guys. 30% off, and that expires on Sunday the 6th, the day before the next Portrait Profit show, and there'll probably be another discount code, promo code. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else that we needed to share? I guess I can share the next 2 upcoming episodes. Then in 1 week, we're going to be talking about the perfect price list, and I say it's perfect because of how we do it. Now, you actually going through the steps and making it perfect for you, there's the real details. We're going to be talking about those things. What are the things that you should be considering? What should you be doing to make the perfect price list? Now, this doesn't mean it's perfect for everybody. It means it's perfect for you and what you're trying to accomplish, your goals. And so that's the perfect price list on February 7th. And then the week after that is the second Monday of the month, and the second Monday we don't do it at noon, we do it in the evening at 6:30, and so that will be how I do my pricing. This will be a panel. We're going to have as many as 3 different photographers share what they do and what their process is and why they're doing what it is they're doing regarding pricing. So that's what's coming up, and Amanda just gave me 2 more for this month, so those will probably be what we do for the rest of the month too. We'll get to that. So put those on your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you then. Amanda, you did say did you say there was anything else you needed to share?
I think those are the two main things. Other than that, have a good week. Come visit us at Digital Pro Lab here in San Antonio. Visit us online. Follow us at Digital Pro Lab on social media because that's where we post quite a bit on any other promotions that we're giving out or any upcoming events. There's one or two that are upcoming that we've made some soft announcements on. Not necessarily something I want to get into like here, but
Okay.
go to our social media page because we've got some upcoming stuff that it's coming.
Awesome. You guys always do so much to help us photographers. You guys rock.
We try.
Thanks, Amanda. Digital Pro Lab rocks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. So, oh, man, you guys have just heard some of the things that I feel are important to have in place. Your mindset to physically to work through in order to give yourself a potential to maximize your business. And it may be some things you hadn't considered before. Maybe you've heard everything, but most of us have not implemented everything. And so we need a review every once in a while. Even if we've been in business for a while, there are some things that kind of slip. Then we need to reevaluate and take a look at those things. Now, I want to encourage you to take advantage of my business assessment consultation. And so I'm putting that on the post right now. Let's see. There we go. So right now in Facebook or YouTube, if you're looking at it on YouTube, you should see a link to my business assessment consultation. That is a free 30-minute session with me to talk about your business. It could be getting your pricing done. Maybe you want to do something ahead of time. Obviously, I'm limited in what I can do, so get on there and take advantage of it. It is one per year. So if it's been a year since the last time you've done it, well, then sign up again. If it hasn't been a year since the last time you've done it, well, put it on your calendar to sign up. You can sign up 60 days out. So that's how my calendar works when you click on that link. And let's see, I don't want that there right now. So use that link, and I'll put that here on the screen as well. Although it's easier to click a link rather than having to write it down, but that is the link. Also wanted to mention Lunch with Landers. So here's the Lunch with Landers, and I'm going to, whoops, I didn't mean to get rid of that. There we go. There's the link to that, and I'm going to put that in the comments as well. So here is that. So that should be showing up right now in your news feed, Lunch with Landers. I take a photographer to lunch with me I pay for it every single week. And so this is just a link to the calendar to be able to see when my next available appointment time is. So click on that and we go have lunch and we talk. Now, this lunch is at the Dominion Country Club. I have been going there since for lunch on Tuesday since October of 2002. So nearly 20 years I've been doing the same thing, going to lunch at the club. But the reason I'm going to the Dominion Country Club is because my Rotary Club meets there. Rotary is a service organization, and each Tuesday at noon, there's a speaker that's brought in, and the speakers are always really good. And it could be, it's usually a local speaker, but it could be someone from somewhere else. But we've had the mayor, we've had the police chief, we've had basketball players, we've had from the Spurs, we've had lots of different speakers. Some of them are really well known like that. Some of them aren't so well known, but the subjects are always intriguing and interesting. And so I thought, I'm going to bring people with me to experience this. And then after that meeting, we sit down, just the two of us, and talk about you and what it is you're doing, just for a little while. And so by about 1:30 or so, we're done. Sometimes we go a little long. But that's Lunch with Landers, and I encourage you to take advantage of that. Doesn't cost you anything other than time, and that is valuable. So thanks for taking advantage of that. I want you to take advantage of that. So today we talked about how to start a portrait photography business. We talked about the critical elements that really need to be there. And there's more. We just have a certain amount of time that we can talk about it. But I encourage you to work on those things. And if you have a business, but there's some of these that are missing, add them in and watch the difference that it makes. Thank you guys for being here for the 50th show of the Portrait Profit Show. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers, bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography. We provide helpful information, step-by-step processes, how-to articles, and action steps that will help you with the struggles you deal with now, so you are constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Bye-bye for now.